you, Pat. Thank you. Hello again, everybody. We're going to go through a series of short demos here where we're going to look at what it really looks like to leverage this connectivity between your on-prem infrastructure, your hybrid cloud infrastructure, and the emerging challenges you have at merging across or managing across multiple different clouds. And we're going to do so first, primarily by looking at this through a series of examples or a series of demos. And first of all, we're going to look at IBM. You've heard from Pat and Arvind as they spoke about this deep integration between the IBM cloud and how it leverages the VMware technology. So let's dive right into a demo and see what that looks like in action. What you're looking at here is the portal, essentially your entry point into IBM Cloud Private. And what you see here is available. What you see here is a lot of available services and applications to help you port and build your applications and run them in this cloud. And quite often, one of the things you're trying to do more and more is take existing applications, which may have not been originally built for the cloud, traditional applications, and move them into this infrastructure. You want to be able to take advantage of some of the power of the cloud at this point. And we've got an example of such an application, a very simple e-commerce application, a company who basically sells skateboards. And when we want to modernize this application, we said we want to do two things. We want to leverage a service, the Watson Chat Assistant, which is a service on IBM Cloud Private, and add a sort of a conversational interface to the website itself. As part of doing this, we also had to rebuild some of this application using, with modern techniques using containers. That introduced an interesting challenge, and we've mentioned it several times. Pat has spoken a lot about security. How do I begin to secure this type of infrastructure, particularly if I'm leveraging containers as opposed to traditional VMs in that mix? In order to do that, we use NSX, which is deeply integrated into this IBM cloud. What you're seeing here is the firewall, the kind of one of the main management portals or screens that you see in NSX. Each of the rules here are how different pieces of that application are allowed to connect to each other, controlled by NSX. And just for example, we're going to disable one of these. We're going to turn off the rule which is related to the Watson services. We now jump back to our application. We run the application, and as expected, it fails. And it fails because we are leveraging the fine-grained control of NSX to be able to manage how these new pieces of infrastructure communicate together or are able to access each other, leveraging that NSX deep integration with IBM Cloud. Let's take another look at NSX again to see what more we can do there. I mentioned we rebuilt some of this application using containers. And we can zoom right in and see how NSX interacts with these containers. Here you see these 45 container ports. This is NSX directly managing the networking and the security paradigm associated with each of the containers. You can dive in. You can see each of the information about those containers. Now, what's interesting here is containers are ephemeral. They come and go. You can add more of them depending on the load and how the application is accessing the back-end infrastructure, your Watson services and so on. And that can be a bit of a challenge. How do I tie all these into NSX? Here it's relatively simple. The developer essentially tags the containers with a very simple tag, in this case called Acma Web, and then NSX automatically associates the appropriate networking security with those containers as they come and go.